For each of us, life is very often full of choices. Sometimes we wish we had more. Sometimes we have too many. The strategy that we'll be talking about in this episode, giving choices, is a discipline strategy. And it's also a part of the basic foundation of how we teach our children about problem solving. Let's recap. Children's brains are still developing. Their ability to delay gratification is slowly evolving. Their ability to anticipate the domino effect of their actions is limited. Why? Because they're young. The parts of their brain that are involved in these processes are still developing, just like the rest of their bodies. So it's understandable and common that they may sometimes want things that they cannot or should not have. And conversely, they may not want to do things that they have to do. For example, getting ready to go somewhere, getting ready for bed, eating the meal that you prepared for them, doing schoolwork before playing with their tablet or a game. As parents, we can model how we make choices by sharing our thoughts about our own decisions. When you get dressed in the morning, does the weather or temperature guide your decisions? Imagine saying to your child, "I think I'll wear a warm sweater today. It's going to be cold outside." Or, "We only have a short time before we have to leave, so I think I'll wait to start baking and just wash the dishes." In examples like these, you, as the parent, are being transparent about why you make the decisions you make. Why is this important? Because having choices, making decisions for adults, is often guided by our ability to problem solve. It's a natural part of how we make our own way through life, and we want to teach our children how to do this. So giving children choices is much more effective when it is a routine part of our interaction and conversation with our children each day, and not only when we have to engage in a power struggle with our children. Remember, discipline is about teaching our children. Here are some choices that may seem familiar to you. Which two books from this pile would you like to read at bedtime? Would you like to wear this pair of mittens or that pair of mittens? Would you like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or cheese and crackers for lunch? Do you want to play with Play-Doh or color pictures with crayons? Would you like your teddy bear or your elephant for nap time? Why is giving children choices important? Because it helps children feel like they have some control of the situation. Children and teenagers are more likely to cooperate with some task when they have a say in it. Children can learn to manage their time and problem solve better when they have choices. They know their options. Giving choices is a part of discipline. If you are a parent and you are listening to this podcast, it is very likely you have run into situations where your child had something stuck in their head about what they wanted to do, and there was just no way on God's green earth that what they wanted to do was either safe, possible, or achievable. Maybe they wanted to play with something that wasn't a toy. Maybe they wanted to eat something or eat more of something that was best eaten in small amounts, like candy. Maybe they wanted to go somewhere that time did not allow. Maybe they didn't want to go somewhere, like to bed, when it was time. As we go through this episode, think of the times when your child had one thing in mind and you had the task of guiding them in a different direction. I want to break this down into two different types of situations. The first type is when you as a parent know what is coming and you can anticipate what your child is going to want. You can see it coming because it's happened before. Maybe there has been a pattern of behavior or a situation that keeps repeating itself, and it results in some kind of power struggle with your child or a tantrum. It could be picking out clothes to wear, or your child wanting to decide who puts in the bed or gives them a bath, or deciding what they will eat for a meal, deciding they want to go outside or leave the store when that's not possible. You may see a pattern here. Giving choices as a discipline strategy is often used when the child wants to be in control of something that they're not really able to or ready to be in control of. The second type of giving choices is in reaction to the situation, not being proactive, but reactive. Giving choices can be helpful when you didn't see it coming. You're caught in reaction mode. and this is really normal. Parents can't anticipate every single situation or outcome. If we are paying attention, we can notice patterns of behavior, but sometimes things just happen out of the blue. They seem to come from nowhere, and children don't always have words to describe or explain why. Remember, their brains are still developing. They want what they want when they want it. And it is our job to gently shape that determination in ways that will help them to be successful little human beings. So, an important rule is to always give choices that you can live with. Keep in mind that when you're giving an option or choice to your child, the option they pick has to be something that is acceptable and achievable for you. Remember, you are the one who's laying out the options. Here are some examples. We can read 2 books at bedtime, or we can read 1 book and tell a story. You can be in charge of that choice. We can have either 1 cookie or 1 piece of candy. The choice is yours. You can get ready for bed now or in 5 minutes. You decide. Giving choices has been described as a win-win situation by some. Although your child may not like the options because their preferred choice is not one of them, they still have a say in the result. As a parent, you can avoid needless power struggles or arguments. You can live with any of the 2 or 3 options you lay out for your child. You are teaching a little bit about the communication skill of compromise. If your child really doesn't like the choices you've laid out, who can blame them? Not all of your options are going to be fun or greeted with enthusiasm. When this happens, come alongside your child at any age. Remember, connect before you correct. You can say, I get it. You really wanted to go to the swimming pool this evening. You had your heart set on it. If I were you, I would be disappointed too. There is just no time to do this. These are the 2 choices you have. We can go to the park and play basketball, or we can play tag on the playground. Maybe we can go swimming when we have more time. The choice is yours. It is possible that your child will come up with a 3rd or 4th choice that is equally as good as the 2 or 3 you have outlined for them. In my view, it would be important to not be rigid about the options you've laid out. As a parent, you can't think of everything that's reasonable. If your child's suggestion is something you can live with, then it would be okay to incorporate that into the decision making. As a parent, you can also model flexible thinking. If your child's alternate option is not one you can live with, then it's equally important to hold your ground and lay out the options your child does have. When giving choices for very young children, keep it simple. Offering them an either-or option makes it less likely to be overwhelming for them. As children get older, choosing can become more sophisticated, and their own creative alternatives are more likely to be considered, so long as those ideas are acceptable to you. There are times when giving choices is not going to work out. If you have ever experienced a situation when your child kept changing their mind and you were getting more and more frustrated, you can relate to this. When your child just seems unable to make a decision, it is okay to decide for them. But pay attention to any patterns here. For example, is this behavior a way of delaying bedtime, being unable to decide what snack to eat or what books to read? Sometimes when you offer choices, your child's ability to think rationally may be on the edge. Maybe they're just too tired. Rather than creating more stress, it's okay to set clear limits. For example, if your child does not choose by the count of 3, then you decide. You should be prepared to hear some protest or tantrums initially, but if you hold your ground and you continue to remain calm, firm, nurturing, and consistent, your child will learn that they only have so much time to decide. Giving choices is just one small but important part of helping parents guide children and shaping their behavior. It can be enhanced through the use of positive reinforcement in the form of praise for your child making a choice and for the resulting experience. For example, if your child had to choose between 2 chores, it would be helpful to thank them for their work and how it helped you. If they made the choice to do something when they would have preferred a different activity, thank them for being flexible. If the activity they chose turned out to be filled with fun, share with them how much fun you also had and enjoying the experience. Tying choices to natural consequences can also be helpful. Why is experiencing consequences for choices a good thing for kids? Well, because you're helping them connect the dots between their choices, their behaviors, and the results. If your child chose to stay in and study for the spelling quiz and then did well on the quiz, you can celebrate how their hard work paid off. If they chose to stay home instead of going to the park when rain was threatening and then there was a downpour, you can help them see their decision kept them dry. If you would like to add this valuable parenting tool to your toolbox, take a moment and think about situations or times when giving choices could be helpful. As a parent, what kinds of choices do you offer your child as part of your everyday routine with them? Remember, giving choices can help children feel empowered and how to problem solve and manage their time. Are there problematic areas or times that you can anticipate when giving choices would help? And looking in the rearview mirror, have there been times that did not end well where giving choices might be a tool to consider? At the end of the day, step back and assess how you did when it came to giving choices. It will take some practice. This is only one tool. It may not work every time, but it can reduce much of the unnecessary conflicts that parents and kids have. Thank you for tuning in and considering this parenting topic. I hope that this information added to your growing toolbox of parenting your child or children. Please consider exploring other topics in this series. Remember, no one parenting tool can do everything. We need many tools to become the best parents for our children. Your children's future depends on you and the time and effort you invest in them today.